It feels like every so often the Pokemon Company just gives us a reminder how powerful the hobby really is. In case you hadn't realized, today's video is about the 30th anniversary. This is a podcast style video, which is probably my favorite to do. I like just sitting down and having a conversation with you guys and girls watching. So you know the drill, pop it on in the car while you're going for a drive, put it on the headphones while you're at the gym or going for a walk, or of course, pop it on the telly at home while you're doing some housework or something. Some funny comments come through on that. They give me a bit of a chuckle, but anyway, let's talk 30th anniversary. So what do I think of it? And what do I think is going to happen to the hobby? What do I think is going to happen to prices? Is this going to open some good opportunities for us? Let's talk all those things in this video. I think the first question is, it's not if it will impact the hobby, it's really, or impact the market, it's really how much. How much will it impact the hobby? And I think to have a little bit of a look at that, or a little bit of an insight, we need to go back to 2021. 2021, of course, is when the 25th anniversary came out. Now, at the time, 25th anniversary wasn't the best set. It wasn't like the cards got released and everyone just went, whoa, like this is going to have, $1,000 hits inside it like Ascended Heroes. This is going to have, $2,000 hits and multiple, $500, $600, $800 hits like Ascended Heroes. That wasn't the case. There wasn't this massive surge towards 25th anniversary being a phenomenal set, but the amount of energy, the amount of people, the amount of consumers, the amount of money this brought into the hobby was still absolutely insane. So even if an anniversary set isn't the best possible set, the amount it brings into the hobby is still astronomical. So if we go back to 2021, we had a few things. We had a few things almost starting to take off. And look, it probably started to take off a little bit before 21st anniversary, but 25th anniversary from 2021 is what I meant, certainly added fuel to the fire. We started to get this influx of celebrities getting into the hobby. Not just well-known celebrities, but almost like Pokemon celebrities. There was channels that really took off. Influencers in the Pokemon investing space that really started to take off as well. Lots of media surrounding it. Things like the rise of ripping and shipping products. Also, it was the first almost rise of, bots being able to buy out products. I remember it was the 25th anniversary UPC. That was the one where bots really started, or people were really starting to set up bots to buy out product. Like that was almost the first, it was the OG original scalped product, because even Evolving Skies, it wasn't scalped. It really wasn't. People were buying it as an investment, but you couldn't really sell it for much more on the secondary market. Like maybe you could buy it at retail for, $100 and this was at launch, and then 3 months later maybe it was $150 or something, but you couldn't really scalp that product. 25th anniversary UPCs were really the first scalp product. Why? It was predominantly because everyone knew it was a premium collectible. Everyone also knew that it had the OG gold Charizard and gold Pikachu sitting inside there, which really helped its case. It was a very, very strong sealed product. So I guess this time around, if we go back to 2021, we can go, that was crazy. It brought a lot of new people into the hobby. What makes this time different? Is this time bigger? In my opinion, yes. I think it is bigger. I think 30th anniversary is bigger. I think maybe the set looks a little bit better. B, I think the people from 5 years ago, around my generation, we're all, if you're in your 30s and 40s, we're all 5 years older, which means arguably maybe we have more disposable income, maybe we have higher paying jobs. So I think there's more income swelling around the Pokemon space at the moment. There's certainly more media hype, like there's more YouTubers than ever in the space. There's more celebrities jumping into the space. There's more rip and shippers in the space. So that media hype surrounding 30th anniversary is certainly going to help. And moreover than that, I think more than ever, there's more nostalgia in the space. We keep seeing that set after set. We saw it with sets like Prismatic Evolutions. We saw it with Destined Rivals. We saw it with Ascended Heroes, how the original 151 Pokemon just seemed to absolutely take off in terms of chase cards. So what happens from here? I think we've established A, what can happen during the 25th anniversary, B, that probably the 30th anniversary is going to be bigger than the 25th anniversary. So what's going to happen? I think from a product standpoint, I think a wave is going to move through the hobby. And what I mean by that is, first things first, and we've already seen this, is 30th anniversary product gets eaten up like that. Like it just goes. The moment it hits the market, it moves from primary sellers to the secondary market. So what that means is, and I've talked about that lots on this channel, the moment a product moves from the primary market to the secondary market is when it takes its initial jump in price. Now that used to take years in some cases. It used to take years for products, so booster boxes, to move from brick and mortar stores and or online stores to the secondary market. And it wasn't until that happened, that all the supply was gone from primary sellers, that the secondary market could then control the price. And that's when we saw the big price jump. Saw it with Fusion Strike. That's probably the best example. Fusion Strike sat for years at a retail price because it was still in the hands of retailers. They still had product to sell to the public. It was still on Pokemon Center, for argument's sake, a couple years after. It wasn't until everything sold out from the retail hands and it went to the secondary market that we saw the first initial massive price spike. And look, that's going to be the same with 30th, except it's accelerated instantly. The moment it hits the market, it's going to go up in price. Now, the wave I talked about is, I think first that will happen. First, 30th anniversary will get absolutely scalped to the eyeballs. It'll instantly double in price, triple in price, in some cases probably 5 times its retail price, straight onto the secondary market. Then I think this ripple effect will move through. Once people realize they can't get 30th anniversary and they don't want to pay exorbitant 5 times, 10 times the price on the secondary market, they'll move towards other modern sets. They'll move towards things like Ascended Heroes. They'll move towards things like Prismatic Evolution. So I think we'll start to see price spikes in some more ultra modern sets. So Ladder Scarlet and Violet, and then also Mega Evolution block. And then the wave will then continue. Maybe some collectors will come into the space and they'll dabble back into early Scarlet and Violet. Maybe they'll dabble into Sword and Shield. Maybe they'll even buy themselves, an Elite Trainer box of Team Up, for argument's sake. Moreover than that, the wave then continues where people want to relive nostalgia. They go, hold on, what were the cards that I had as a kid? Well, I used to collect Base Set, I used to collect Fossil, I used to collect Neo, I used to collect Skyridge. So then you see this wave go through to some of the older, more nostalgic sets to bring back that level of nostalgia for people. So the wave starts in modern, ultra modern, particularly the first set, then it starts to roll through all the way through to vintage. That is what I think will happen. So with all that in mind, what products could benefit from this whole 30th anniversary wave? Because if you're an investor, and I presume probably 95% of people watching this channel, unless they're just here because they like the sound of my voice, they're in the investing space. So you're really thinking, how can I capitalize on this 30th anniversary wave so that I can increase my profits on the products that I buy? So I think my first moves would be, if I'm talking from an investing standpoint, is to pick up some of those ultra modern sets. Of course, if you can get a 30th anniversary at retail price, buy it. Because as soon as it hits the secondary market, it's probably going to be triple the price, if not more. That is quite possibly the best investment you can possibly make. Because an investment, seriously, in Pokemon investing space, and I've talked about this before, it doesn't pay you dividends. It's literally, you need to wait for that product to go up in price so you can sell it for more than what you bought it for, with the cost of shipping and everything else included. You hope to make a profit off the initial price that you bought it for. That's the only way you make money investing in sealed Pokemon card products. It's also the only way you make money investing in the singles, whether it's raw or slabs. You buy it for a certain price, you hope it goes up over time, and then you sell it. This accelerates the time. So first thing is, if you can get 30th anniversary at retail, it's an absolute no-brainer. It's going to be a great investment. I think Pokemon will know how popular this is. I can't see this not getting multiple waves. I would love to see the UPCs get multiple waves because, damn, they're nice. Geez, those promos are good. The Espeon and the Umbreon, they're just absolutely stunning promos. I'd love to see those get some more reprints down the track so we can pick up more of them. I think they're amazing products. A lot of the products look really cool. Those in particular, though, are my pick. The Pokemon Center Elite Trainer Box would be really good. The regular Elite Trainer Box, if you can't get your hands on a Pokemon Center Elite Trainer Box, will also be a stunning product. The booster bundles will be a great product. So that's probably my tier list, so to speak. And this isn't a video about the tier list of what products to pick up. I'm just saying the first initial wave is jump onto any 30th anniversary. And that's my tier list, I guess, of what I would pick up. UPCs, Pokemon Center Elite Trainer Box, Elite Trainer Box, booster bundles. And if there's some nice collection boxes that might come out along the journey, then of course, with good promos inside them, they're going to be good pickups as well. Now, with all that being said, the next wave I was talking about is Ultra Modern. So if you don't have any Scarlet and Violet, I think now is a good time to grab some. 30th anniversary pre-orders have sort of taken place. I think if you don't have some of the good Scarlet and Violet sets, and there's also some sneaky good Scarlet and Violet sets. There's sets like Twilight Masquerade, which is very underrated. There's also sets like Surging Sparks, which is still really cheap. There's also sets like, even Paradox Rift and Temporal Forces, which aren't phenomenal, but they're also not that bad. Like, they're not bad pickups. The next wave will slowly go through to Sword and Shield, where some people will jump back to Sword and Shield. And what you'll realize is there's a lot of Sword and Shield booster boxes that aren't badly priced at all. Astral Radiance is still pretty cheap. Chilling Reign is still pretty cheap. People will go back to those sets and add some to their collection. Like, it's just inevitable. And then keep in mind, look, vintage, particularly some of the PSA 10 prices, Gold Stars, etc., have absolutely exploded in price. Will this coattail continue to ride on those? It's crazy how much some of those have gone up. Will this level of nostalgia that I was talking about with, big money coming back into the hobby, and maybe the 30th anniversary bring even more money into the hobby, will that really pump up vintage even more? Quite possibly. I think there's every chance it will. Now, with that, there's one thing to keep in mind, or I suppose one caveat here, and that is, with the somewhat weaker sets we've seen, Perfect Order, Chaos Rising, and now Pitch Black doesn't seem, a great deal stronger than any of those two sets. It's like I shouldn't say filler sets, but it's like we have had a few filler sets leading up to this 30th anniversary. Is that an intentional ploy? I'm not making that comment, but perhaps it is in some way, shape or form. But the caveat I want to mention to you is, are our expectations somewhat already, played into this whole scenario? And what I mean by that is, we're expecting now to make gains by investing in, some Scarlet and Violet and some Sword and Shield products, or even some early Mega Evolution, like Mega Evolution Base, because of this wave that I think will go through the hobby. But, has that already started to happen? Has that momentum already started to happen in those spaces? So that's one thing I think you need to think about. The biggest gains that are made in the hobby is when you're making moves or plays on things that aren't being spoken about, because they're yet to happen, of course. That's the biggest play that you're going to make. And right now, I always like to think about putting money into places where attention isn't. I don't think there's a lot of attention at the moment on some of the early Scarlet and Violet sets. I don't think there's a lot of attention at the moment on some of the cheaper Sword and Shield sets. And they're starting to get some age behind them. Yes, there's some supply there. I get that. It's, those eras have been printed more than ever before. But I think a lot of this demand that'll come from the 30th anniversary is going to absorb a fair bit of this extra supply that we've got from, all of Scarlet and Violet, including early Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield. I think that'll start to be eaten up. What are your takes? What are your plans? Please let me know down in the comments below. 30th anniversary just around the corner. What are you planning on doing? Do you share the same mindset as me there? Did want to give a shout out to today's video sponsor, which is of course the Collector app. Before we sign off here, just did a video on people's collections on there. I did want to say thanks again for everyone that sent through all their collection portfolios on Collector, either by email or on the inboxes inside Collector. I think I got over 300 of them, so apologies for not getting back to everyone. It's an impossible task, but thanks to everyone who shared their collections. I had a look at as many as I possibly could, and there's some phenomenal collections out there. Thanks everyone again for tuning in. Your support means a lot, and I'll catch everyone next time.